R0 Sieg is pretty underwhelming, but at R2 it does make him pretty viable for some of the Retro Miracle, which I'm going to go through 2 of the bosses. Now keep in mind, this will only work if you have R2 Sieg. If you don't have R2 Sieg, he's not going to be useful for Retro Miracle. When you have him at R2, he will give the Dragon Breath and also the Echo Scar to all enemies at the start of the round, right? So what that does is it gives your allies 15% attack and you also do extra damage, right? And he's also good in Retro Miracle because he has 2 AoE attacks, his S2 and S3. Now I think you do need level 70 Sieg for this to work because you need the additional stats to kill the boss, number 1, and you also need the additional stats to clear the wave as well. Now the first wave is not going to be any problem because you have 120% multiplier alongside his S3, which does 250%, but in the second wave you won't be casting the S2 and instead you'll go to the S3, right? So you only do 250% damage and the Echo Scar damage. So if you don't have enough stats, you're not going to one-shot the second wave. But even without level 70, it should be pretty easy for you to one-shot both waves. Level 70, most importantly, is just to have enough damage to kill off the boss. So this is the team. You're going to be running Drew in the leader spot. I'll tell you why in a bit. At level 60, his R6 is not needed if you have enough stats. Most importantly is going to be his R2. And then Sieg, mine is level 70. Again, you can try it with the level 60. Might not work. You might not have enough damage. Next unit is an R6 Haley. Now, if you don't have an R6 Haley, you can just run a Toland. It works even better. But this one is, if you don't have a Toland, you can just run an R6 Haley if you have her, right? So what she does is, she can provide you with the Molten Hot debuff. Paired up with his Echo Scar, you almost get 0% defense on the boss. So now you can swap out Toland for R6 Haley and still do enough damage. And then you're also going to need level 70 Leaf. If you don't have a level 70, I think you're not going to be doing enough damage. And then lastly, you're going to be running Everett on a Thunder set and Light set. So give him as much HP as possible and crit damage. You don't need any crit rate on your Everett because he's going to crit the boss regardless. And then for the sets, you're going to be running Brewster on a Calamity set and Brawler set. This guy is going to be on Thunder set and Fiery. You don't need to go 100% crit rate because he has type advantage against all other elements except for Shimmers. So giving him 85% crit rate is enough because that will give him additional 15%, right? As long as it's not a Shimmer. And then your Haley, oh, by the way, he's going to be moving first. And you need at least 155 speed on him. And then your Haley is just going to be on whatever set, it doesn't really matter. You can also just run her on no set at all. Even the Avatara set is not that important if you have enough damage, but just run Avatara set just to be sure. And give her as much HP if you think that she's gonna die. But most of the time, she's not gonna die. And then you're gonna be running Haley on Calamity set and Brawler with a bit of accuracy as well. Same with your Brewster. Give your Brewster at least 80% accuracy if you can, because you do need to land the defense break. And then your Everett just, again, tanky and a lot of damage as well. So let's go in. So the first wave, first 2 wave is going to be the exact same. He's always going to one-shot the first 2 wave thanks to his double AoE on his second skill and third skill. And then on the boss wave, the boss is going to move first. Your Everett is going to counter attack. And then right here, this is the reason why you have your Brewster on the leader spot. If you have your Elif on the leader spot, she will assist before your Brewster. So if you don't know, the way assist works is it goes from left to right. So if you put your Brewster on the leftmost spot, your Brewster will counter attack first, applying the defense break, and then your Elif will attack with her S1, right? So you defense break first, and then your Elif will then use her S1. Alright, so now your Sieg is going to move. He's going to cast the S2 and call in your Brewster and Elif for assist. Boom. They're gonna attack, and then the boss is going to counter attack because you hit him 7 total times. And then your Everett is going to counter attack, which is guaranteed, and you pretty much kill the boss again because of the assist procs that you proc on Brewster and also Elif. So it's a pretty fast lineup, very consistent as well. You don't need to run Toland anymore. But if you have a level 60 Sieg, what you can do is just run your Toland, right? Same exact team as the Alice team. But instead of running Alice, you run your R2 Sieg. Again, level 60 is fine if you run this team. This team is way faster. It's still 4 turns, the best that you can get. I think there might be a 3 turns possible with Sieg, but you need like a full team of level 70 without this guy right here. Without, what's his name? Everett. So this team is a 10-second team. Pretty fast because Sieg's animation is really fast. His S2 and S3 barely has animation. So yeah, it's a 12 to 10 seconds team. But again, if you have an R6 Haley and a level 70 Sieg, you can just run that team. It does the same exact thing, same turns as well, 4 turns for both of the team. It just depends on what you have, right? Whether you have R6 Haley or whether you have low level enough Toland to dive on the first hit of Apep. If you don't, then just run this team. Alright, moving on to the second boss. Again, it's going to be good for Ratio Miracle because it has a double AoE skill. And also he helps with your allies doing more damage as well. And also, the reason why he's good in Fafnir is because of his Echo Scar. It can help you break the damage cap that Fafnir has. So with this team, you're going to be running, what's her name? Elaine on the leader spot. Because you cannot do this. If you do this, no, actually you can do this if you want to. If you don't have enough damage, you can actually do this. Because you don't really need the effect of his Dragon Breath if you already have his R2. You're going to be killing the boss fast enough that your start of turn Dragon Breath that you get from his R2 is already enough. So again, if you don't have enough damage, you can just do this. But I've already set up my team to have Elaine in the leader spot, which gives me crit rate. And you're going to be putting her on the Calamity set and Light set, as much damage as possible. And her speed, it doesn't really matter. As long as your Feng Shun can move. And then your Sieg is going to be moving first. He needs at least, I think, 160 something speed. He's going to be moving first. And you want him to be on the Thunder set and Light set. The reason why you put Light set on all of your units except for Yujing is because you don't want them to be slowed or stunned. And then your Jingwei is going to be on the Thunder set. At least 80% accuracy on counter attack. I'll tell you why in a bit. Feng Shun is going to be on Harmony set, crit damage, attack, and attack with a decent amount of accuracy as well because you do need to land the defense break on Feng Shun. And then lastly, you're going to be running Ophelia on the Calamity set and Light set. So this team features 3 DPS. Now Ophelia has a specific role which you'll see in the run in a bit. Once my Elaine nukes the boss to 1 or 2 bar left, the next nuke is going to be my Ophelia. So she's going to be killing the boss. So the first wave is again going to be the same. Your Sieg is going to clear within 1 turn with his S2 and S3. And in the boss stage, what needs to happen is whether you counterattack on Jingwei or not does not really matter that much. What needs to happen is when your Sieg casts his S2, you need your Yujing to steal all of the buffs that the boss has. This buff right here. Anvari's shard, because if you don't strip all of the buff, the boss will have additional shield that you cannot kill through. So it's gonna mess up the team. So I have 1 stack of the Anvari shard on the boss. My Elaine is going to nuke the boss to 2 bar left, and then my what's it called? Ophelia is going to move. She's going to cast her S3, does a few pursuit attacks, but it's not going to be enough. As you can see, the boss has additional thingy, which made it not possible for me to clear it within 7 turns. Again, this team is 7 turns, but we did manage to clear it within 8 turns. So the perfect run would be whether you're using counterattacks or not. If she counterattacks, then she strips all the buff, or if she doesn't counterattack, you still want her to strip all of the Anvari shot. So there we go. We counterattack and we strip all of the buff, so it lowers the RNG a little bit more. And then your Sieg is going to do the S2. At this point, it doesn't matter if your Yujing does anything at this point. And then the next RNG you need is to land a defense break on your Feng Shun. So if you fail the defense break, it's going to fail. Okay, there we go. And then at this point, we just nuke the boss to 2 bar left. It also helps if you have a better built Elaine, because mine is only D2. Because you do need to make sure that the boss lands into this 2nd bar HP. If you can drop it down to 1 HP, that's even better, but I don't think it's possible if you don't have a level 70 Sieg or without an R4 Sieg, which I might try. And then your Ophelia is going to move. Again, the boss has 6 additional hits. So what's going to happen is she's going to cast her S3, and then she's going to follow up with 1 S1, and then Yujing will follow up with her S1, and then she will follow up with 1 S1, and then Feng Shun is going to follow up with his S1, and then she will follow up with her S1 twice. So let's put it at times 3. Two things can happen here. You either kill the boss, or you deplete the boss's HP with her S1 or with Feng Shun's S1. Now both of them can work. you can still clear the boss within 7 turns if those two scenarios happen. But to make it more consistent, you need your Feng Shun to have a lot of damage, right? That's the reason why you run crit damage attack instead of like crit damage accuracy and attack or something like that. So there we go. S3, and then she's gonna follow up once. Yujing follows up, she follows up once, and then Feng Shun follows up. The boss will freeze Feng Shun, and then she has 2 more assists on her S1. That's how it's gonna work. So no more Toland for Fafnir as well. It's not the best turn count, it's only 7 turns, but again, if you do have an R4 Sieg, I think 6 turns might be possible to push that last threshold of the HP so that your Yujing and Feng Shun can kill off the boss rather than needing an extra slot for a DPS like Ophelia, right? I might just go for his R4 because I might as well, right? I'm so close and I'm also so bored from the game right now. The required resonance is going to be Elaine at R0. She does not need to be R6 or anything. R2 does help because it does help you like ignore percent of defense, but it's at a chance, so it's not really reliable. You want her to do enough damage consistently to get the boss to 2 HP bar left, right? And then R2 Sieg is obviously going to be required. Yujing is going to be R6. She needs to be R6. Feng Shun needs to be R2. His R6 is not needed. Ophelia's R6 is not needed, but I think which one is it that gives her additional pursuit attacks? I think she's already at 4 pursuit attacks at R0, right? Yeah, R1 is just final damage after attacking. This one is not needed. This one is also not needed. This one is, okay, so for Ophelia, you only need her to be at R0, but being at R0, you do need a lot of stats, right? So if you are at R0, you do need her to be at D6 maybe to make sure that you kill off the boss when the boss has damage reduction because of the shield. So yeah, I'm gonna show you one more run. Hopefully we get the perfect run. Again, either I counter attack with Yujing and strip all of the buffs, or okay, there we go. Now defense break. Alright, so this is gonna be a perfect run. Again, the damage on Elaine R2 is going to be vary a little bit because sometimes she ignores defense, sometimes she doesn't, right? You don't want to rely on that. You want her to do consistent damage that she can just bring the boss to 2 HP bar left. And for Yinglong is also pretty good, but you do need to have a level 70 Amir and at least R5. So what he does in Yinglong is he helps your Amir clear the wave 2 easier. So let me just show you one of the team. My Amir is only at R2 and no Divinate, so I'm not going to be able to do it. But basically, your Amir is going to be clearing the second wave more consistently because of his debuff. His debuff will not proc when you do a pursuit or assist, but his debuff, as you can see right here, my Amir did his passive onto these guys right here, but the damage on Sieg did not proc, right? But he's mostly here to reduce the defense of the enemies with his Echo Scar. So the enemies have 2 stacks of this debuff, so it's a 6% defense reduction. It does not sound like a lot, but it is a little bit of damage that Amir needs at level 70 again. At level 70 and R5 and D6 to clear the second wave consistently. And then on the third wave, it's pretty much standard where you kill off the boss within 2 turns, right? Your Feng Shun is going to take a turn, and then your Sieg is going to take a turn, and then you kill off the boss with your E-Leaf. But again, I cannot show you this one because I have a level 60 and no Divinate Amir. So yeah, that's about it. He could be really, really good and even necessary for the future if they decide to add more difficulties for the Ratio Miracle, because he is currently one of the best wave clearer in the game that we have right now. But again, for Chronos, it's probably not going to change even if they add more difficulties, because we already have Sloan for that. But I think if they do increase the difficulty for Apep, Fafnir and Yinglong, the lowest turn count possible is probably going to need R2 Sieg from that point on, because again, the wave clearing potential for this Esper is really high. So yeah, that's about it. Again, I might just go for his R4, but I'm at 96 PT. By the time the banner leaves, I don't think I have enough to hit PT because I need 30,000 more. If I get lucky before that, then that's gonna be nice. But before I summon for his R4, I'm just gonna do some showcase on his R2 effect first, because in PvP, the difference between R0 Sieg and R2 Sieg is night and day. You cannot use R0 Sieg in PvP at all. You need him to be at R2 for him to be runnable. And in V-Bout, I did find some teams with him, but it's not as consistent. It's still a pretty good win rate for against other teams, but the win rate is still not 100%. And in Point War, I did find some success as well, but this one is kind of cheating. Put it in the comments if you know what team it is. Basically, if you run a certain set with a certain Esper, any Esper in the game can be PvP viable or Point War viable, right? Put it in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, that's pretty much what I ran in Point War. Again, it's the win rate is pretty high, but it's gonna be a secret for now. Again, I'll test him even more to see if he's really worth it to summon or not. I think his R0 is definitely worth it, because it only costs you 24,000 max, right? You have 60 free summons, and then you also get an additional, I think 5 from the milestone as well. Let me take a look. So you get 60, you get 15, so you get 75 free summons, right? So you only need to spend 25 summons, which is around 15,000. So 15,000 crystals is definitely worth it for his R0 alone. But going for his R2 or R4 is going to need some further testing. So yeah, that's about it. Ciao.